Good morning. I'm Dan Olivas with Dan Olivas and Associates. You know, for 30 years, we've helped families just like yours move in and out of El Paso. It doesn't make any difference if you're buying your first home or your 10th home. The stress levels are still the same. Our efforts as professionals are to relieve as much of that stress as we possibly can. And the way that we do that is by assembling the right team that represents you in making sure that this transition is as seamless as possible. Buying a home is a big investment. We value that. It starts with you choosing as to who's going to represent you. We're hoping at Dan Olivas and Associates that you will give us the opportunity to earn your trust and earn your business. But first, watch this segment of videos that really walks you through the steps of buying a home.
Hi, I'm Paula Wright with Sierra Mortgage.
And I'm Ashley Wright. Come on in, let's talk about the loan
Getting
process.
a home mortgage is a big experience. We want to make that experience as seamless as possible. Ashley?
As Paula has addressed, our philosophy is to keep in touch with the borrowers at all times and allow them to understand exactly what is going on throughout the process. We don't want anybody to be confused or not addressed properly as to anything that may come up during the process. We want to make the experience as enjoyable as we can. Every day we get a chance to enrich somebody's life and either have them purchase a brand new home for the first time or refinance a home. And we just hope that you choose Sierra Mortgage as your loan company. The loan industry is not by any means an easy one, but there are 4 phases that incorporate the loan process. The first is the loan application, where we gather information. Next is the processing, which is very, very detailed work. That's where we kind of figure out what else may be needed for your loan. Then we also have the underwriting process, which is just the next step to get that loan approval, see if there's anything else we need. And then the last is closing, which is always the best part of the process. You may think I'm an actress, but I really am a loan officer. There are 3 major criteria that determine whether you will be approved and the loan amount approval that will be the maximum for your budget. One is income and employment. The longevity, how much you make, if you have a spouse, that's all going to determine what your minimum payment will be. We also just focus in on your credit, of course. We'll take a look if there's any repairs that need to be made. We will help you in every way we can. And also assets. We do need to see how much you will be needing for closing costs. In some cases, though, you don't even need assets, so that's
I'm
great.
Paula Wright, as I introduce myself, and I want to make sure that you please call me when you're ready to pursue your mortgage.
And I'm Ashley Wright. Be sure to call Sierra Mortgage and call Paula and Ashley and make the right choice.
Hi, I'm Sean Weeks with Inside Mortgage. I'm here to talk with you about the pre-approval process for buying a home. It's really pretty simple. You would meet with me or a loan officer. We'd take your application, get your personal information, where you live, where you work, how much money you saved. We would then ask to meet with you, or maybe we're already doing it in person, but if not, we'd meet with you. We'd collect your pay stubs, your tax returns, your bank statements, and we'd go over it with you, see what makes sense, and go over the debt ratios, pull your credit, put it all together, and tell you what you do qualify for, or if you don't qualify at that time, what you need to do to qualify. Usually with your credit, there's usually a few simple things that can be done to increase your score over a 2 to 3 month period, and it's really easy, and you don't have to pay anyone to do it. Also, with the process, it's important to meet and gather that information so that you can be a step ahead, and I, as a loan officer, can get it. Your stuff sent in to my underwriter so they can actually look at the information and approve it. That's called a pre-approval. A pre-qualification is when you just meet with me and I run it through my system, and that's good, but the pre-approval is set in stone, it's guaranteed, and that's what realtors want to see, and that makes you feel confident when you're going out and buying a home. Also, I've been doing mortgages now for 12 years. I've worked with many builders in the El Paso area, and I love to help first-time home buyers, but if it's your first home, if it's your fifth, if it's your retirement home, either way, it's nice to get together to go over and make sure everything's in place and everything's set. If you have any questions, please give me a call. Thanks.
And now you've watched the video pertaining to the loan companies. Bear in mind that these people on these videos are not professional actors. That's not what they do for a living. What they are professional at is giving you top quality service, and that's important to us. Now that you've gotten the process of loan qualifying out of the way, you know how much you qualify for, you know what your payment will be, you know where your comfort zone is. Now we'll proceed to finding that right home for you. That process of finding the right home for you, you may have already started it. You may have been on the internet. I'd be surprised if you hadn't. What area of the city are you going to choose? You're going to determine that. We're going to give you as much feedback as necessary for you to make the right decision for you and your family. There's nice areas all over El Paso, but I would imagine that where you ultimately wind up living is going to be driven by where you work, where you want to go to church, where you want your children to go to school, where your friends are. So all of these factors come into play. But you're going to give us the criteria, or may give us the specific home that you are looking for. Our job then is to collect all the information that we can about that specific home, doing what's called a CMA or a current market analysis, so that we have some idea to give you the guidance as to where your offer ought to be. Now you've chosen the home, and you've narrowed it down to the home that you really want. Now it's up to us to prepare the contract. The contracts here in El Paso and in Texas are all promulgated through the state of Texas. So contracts here or in Dallas are going to be exactly the same. We help with that process. When it comes to the actual offer that you're going to make, we're going to have given you some guidance by having done that CMA that I talked about, that market analysis. So you'll have a pretty good idea of the value of that home. Once we have an accepted contract, there are some more steps that are going to follow. The first one is having a home inspection. And a home inspection is, well, watch these videos.
Hello, my name is Daniel Tate with DT Home Inspections. I'm here to do the property inspection. Come on in, let's look at the house. Property inspection includes a detailed look at everything from the roof all the way to the ground. It includes a look at all the plumbing and electrical systems. It includes all the appliances. It includes a detailed information so that you'll know what you're getting into when you buy a house.
Oh, I'm Jimmy Dow with Jim Dow Home Inspections and Dow Pest Control. I'm here to do a home inspection for the purchase of this new home. Basically what I'm doing here today on this home inspection is I am going to inspect every item in the house, in and outside of the house. I am going to give the home purchaser a tool to help them make the decision on the purchase of this house.
Once the home inspection has been completed, we will get a copy of that inspection along with you. Patty or I or both of us will sit down with you and go through that inspection report, from which we will craft what we are going to go back to the seller with and negotiate for repairs or cash in lieu of repairs. All of that will be explained in detail as we go through the process. I just want you to know what the process is. Okay, so we've found the home that you want to make the offer on. We've decided what offer to make. We've made the offer. We have negotiated that price. We have come back and done our inspection our inspections, and included in those inspections will be a termite inspection also, so that you understand exactly what condition the home that you're expecting to move into is going to be. So we're at the point now where we have done everything except one thing, and that is get final approval from your mortgage company. That is the longest process. And let me just clarify some things here, because here is where frustration can set in if you're not clearly understanding the mechanics of that. In the initial mortgage interview and where you did your credit application, they asked a lot of questions and asked you for a lot of documentation. As the process moves forward, that mortgage company is working with an underwriter. The underwriter may be requiring more documentation. It's not that they are singling in on you, it's just the process the way it is today. These are government regulated loans for the most part. They're very detailed and they can be very, very arduous for you, because they're asking you for things that you already gave them, but they're going to ask them again. So let's just be patient with this process and we'll get through it. Again, ask any questions that you feel are necessary.
Hi, I'm John Martin, president of Lone Star Title Company of El Paso. We're El Paso's local owned and managed and headquartered title company. When closing at Lone Star Title Company, you go through the closing process to ensure that your transaction is handled with professionalism and accuracy, and that there are no outstanding taxes or delinquent dues or assessments due to your property, no outstanding liens that you're unaware of. And so that's the process of what we help facilitate and make happen when you come to the title company to close. You want that insurance and that assurance that things are done right. The title insurance product and the whole process of the closing and the settlement of the transaction between it comes together at the title company at the closing table, and so the borrower and the realtor and the seller and the lender, mortgage company and the surveyor and the title company are all together at the table. Maybe not physically present, but at least represented on the closing statement that is prepared by the title company. We are the escrow agent. Generally speaking, we handle all of the money and the funds for the transaction. We disperse the seller their proceeds after the sale of the home. We take in the buyer's down payment and their buyer's lender's loan proceeds, and put all that together and make sure that everyone is paid, that the taxes are properly and correctly prorated between the buyer and the seller on a sales transaction, and that all of the charges are itemized and all of the appropriate credits are given where necessary to come up with a final closing statement.
Okay, you heard John Martin talk about all the details and how the title company is really the final collector of all of the documentations. And it's as if though everybody represented in the transaction is at that table. And that's just figuratively. At that table will be the closing officer, Patty or myself, and you and your spouse. So we get to the closing. Now you've signed everything. You're going to require, or the title company is going to require, that you bring a cashier's check for the amount that is owed at closing. We will go over that closing statement prior to getting to the title company in most cases. Sometimes it's not possible to do, but in most cases we will have gone over with you in detail, answering all your questions. So when you get to the title company, their explanation will just further augment what we have already gone over with you. You've closed. But this is not really the official closing. The official closing takes place when all parties have signed and the loan has been funded. That is when you will get keys. Now, it may not be the day of closing, so you need to be prepared for this. If we close early enough in the day, usually it is that day. But in some cases, it may be the following day. So just be patient. Now you've got your keys. You're a proud homeowner. Congratulations. Now, you and your family, or if it's just you, can move into this beautiful home and start creating lifelong memories. Congratulations.
My name is Charlotte.
I'm Frank Holguin.
And today we just closed on our first home. It was an easy process. We would like to thank Dan Olivas and Associates and Patty for helping us make a smooth and fun transition in getting our first home. We were first pre-approved, and after that we went and looked at different homes. Luckily we found our home on the first day, and today we just closed on it, so we're very excited. We'd like to thank them again for their professionalism, and just their years of experience really shine through.